Hello, as we start the review of the second half of the season for season 4.
Thank you for following us over here from our channel. On Santa's channel, it's me and Vega, and we're going to answer and review the last 2 episodes in this arc. And we'll start with the box. Isn't that right, Vega?
Yes, sirree.
So, Vega, what happens after Eval, Bane, and Hardeen Obi-Wan escape from Anakin? Where do they go?
They go to Sereno, Count Dooku's planet,
Why is that?
because that's where Count Dooku and Eval were planning to put together a team to capture Palpatine.
So the team's already put together, so they're just going to go get his team and then take off to capture the Chancellor? Is that what's happening?
No, they're trying to find good mercenaries through a test, and it's called the Box.
I think these guys are watching too many 80s, 90s movies. I'm pretty sure there was like a horror movie called The Cube where they had to do a bunch of tests in order to get out. It sounds too much like that.
Well, what can you expect? They didn't make Clone Wars in 2019.
So do you think this kind of test is a way to build an effective special forces team that is loyal to each other?
No, because it's putting everybody against each other.
So yeah, I tend to agree. At this point, it seems a bit silly. So Obi-Wan came into this plan to figure out what plan was already set in motion. But it appears there's no plan set in motion. They're trying to still put together their team. They don't know what they're doing. And all they know is that there's some sort of celebration on Naboo and they're going to try to capture the Chancellor.
Yeah, it's called the Festival of Life, and it comes up in the next episode.
So what really happens in this episode, and is there really any important parts to it?
Yeah, I guess it really shows the ingenuity of Obi-Wan. There were 3 tests with a bunch of mercenaries, and the final test with Eval for Obi-Wan. In the first test, Obi-Wan uses his helmet to find the secret passageway to escape.
Did the other mercenaries follow him, or is it just him himself?
The other mercenaries followed him. Yeah, actually, Obi-Wan saves all the other mercenaries by telling them how to get out.
Why do you think he does that?
Because he's trying to build loyalty. You know, honor among thieves.
So what happened in the second test?
The second test was about those cube or rectangle things coming out of the wall with lasers on the ends.
So what exactly happened? What was the test?
Well, it's really an obstacle course with laser blade cube thingies.
So Obi-Wan figures this one out too, right?
Yeah, but some mercenaries died, and Cad Bane is treacherous.
Okay, so what was the third task, and did Obi-Wan figure that one out too?
Yes, Obi-Wan did figure this one out, and the third challenge was closing stun walls, the one that looked like the trash compactor in A New Hope. And the fourth challenge was for only Obi-Wan, because Eval was jealous, and we can see he was very cowardly about it. And both Cad Bane and Count Dooku called him out on it.
So this episode ends with them getting the team together so that they can kidnap the Chancellor on Naboo, right?
Yep, that's right.
So what happened in the next episode, episode 18?
The Chancellor travels to Naboo, guarded by Anakin and other Jedi, while Dooku and the bounty hunters, including Obi-Wan, also travel to Naboo to kidnap the Chancellor. I hate naps.
Yeah, it seems to me at this point, they kind of know what everybody's going to do, so Obi-Wan following along with them doesn't seem realistic anymore, but that's just me. So after Dooku and the bounty hunters get there, they secure a hangar or something, right?
Right.
And then what do they do?
Well, they get their holographic disguises so they can get close to the Chancellor as his guard. And Obi-Wan's supposed to be the sniper that stuns the Chancellor.
So does it work?
Almost, but Obi-Wan reveals the plot.
Oh, so the plan comes unraveled once Obi-Wan lets the Jedi know where they're taking the Chancellor?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. Anakin knows that Obi-Wan is Hardeen now.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of important that Anakin knows that Obi-Wan's Hardeen.
Yeah, like Anakin would totally kill him at this point. Instead, Anakin rescues the Chancellor. And that's how this episode ends.
Well, thank you, Vega, for that. That was a pretty good rundown. I enjoyed that. I hope y'all did too. I think this is a really good one to kind of see the development of Anakin as we get ready to move toward Revenge of the Sith and Season 7. So I would recommend these, actually. Even though there's some things that could be torn apart in them, overall, they're really good character development for Anakin. All right, Santa, you're up again.
We finished up Season 4 with a 4-part story. It's kind of 2 stories involved, but all 4 connect together into a larger story arc. All around the Night Sisters, Dathomir, Mother Talzin, Asajj Ventress, and of course Savage. So Savage and Asajj, and then there's a tie-in to Maul. Of course, at this point, we haven't seen Maul since he got cut in half in The Phantom Menace. In this episode, earlier, we did see his image kind of where Mother Talzin was saying that she was going to send Savage to his brother, but we haven't actually seen Maul to this point. So this 4-part episode story, 4-episode story, kind of covers one story arc around Talzin, the Night Sisters, Asajj, and Savage. So it picks up episode 19 entitled Massacre. And in here, Dooku has learned that Asajj is alive and that she has returned to Dathomir. He's determined to put an end to Asajj and also Mother Talzin. So he sends Grievous with his fleet. So Grievous takes his fleet with him, and they're going to attack Dathomir and take out Asajj and the Night Sisters. He wants to put it into them once and for all. So Ventress then she goes through a baptism. She returned back to Dathomir, and she's kind of lost. She's got her tail between her legs to some degree. Nothing that's worked out the way that she thought it would. And she goes back to Mother Talzin. Mother Talzin puts her through this like baptism, raises her up as a true Night Sister. She's returned back to them as one of their own. When Grievous's fleet arrives and his armies start their assault on Dathomir, Talzin sends Asajj to go fight with Grievous. And she is then going to use her magic to attack Dooku remotely. So we see Ventress come head to head with Grievous. They battle. There's wins and losses there. Ultimately, Ventress is getting beat back by Grievous and his droid armies, and she calls for help. She goes and meets with this ancient mother who then raises up armies of the undead to help with Ventress's attack on Grievous's armies. Meanwhile, we've got Talzin. She's using magic to attack Dooku directly, and Dooku is in terrible turmoil. The magic that Talzin uses is very similar to a voodoo doll. She's got this doll of Dooku, and she's raised boils on him. She's stabbing him with a needle, all of that. And Grievous or Dooku tells Grievous, "You've got to go take care of this before she kills me." She actually talks to him through the process, and he is at severe pain. He's near death. So episode 19, Massacre, ends with Grievous's armies defeating the armies of the undead. They stopped Talzin's attack. They killed the ancient mother, and Dooku is freed of this tie to the like voodoo doll. As the title of the episode says, Massacre, everybody is wiped out. The only survivors here are Talzin herself, Mother Talzin, and Asajj. The rest of them are gone. And Talzin tells Asajj, go. blaze your own path. You're free from here. Go away, right? Do your thing. And so Asajj heads off on her own, and that episode ends with Dathomir wiped out. We pick up in episode 20 called Bounty, and Ventress then, after leaving the massacre, Ventress is looking for somewhere to go. She goes into the Outer Rim, and she runs across some bounty hunters. Specifically, she runs into Bosk. And Bosk and some bounty hunters say, hey, we're in need of help. Why don't you join us? And goes and introduces Ventress to his boss, which is Boba Fett. Boba Fett's still very young. He's like early teens at best. He's a little boy. And Ventress is like, I'm not following this little kid, right? But they tell her that there's a big reward. They'll split her. They'll cut her in on the reward. And she agrees to go. She's trying to figure out her way now anyway. And she figures this is a way to earn some money to kind of keep going on her own path. So they go to this planet, and the ruler of the planet, his name is Otua Blank. Otua Blank has this cargo that he wants transported, and he's hired these bounty hunters to guard it. And Asajj, Bosk, Boba Fett, and a couple others are brought along, and they're on this train traveling with this cargo. It's precious cargo. They're not to open it. They're not to look into it. They're not to. Their job is to deliver it to Otua Blank. And as they're going across the planet, the cargo box gets tipped over during a battle. There's people coming to get that cargo, and they're attacking the train. And in that process, the cargo box is tipped over, and out falls a young girl. Her name is called Pluma. Pluma falls out. She's young, very, very young. You could tell, again, she's maybe Boba's age, right? She's early teens at best. And Pluma is, they arrive at the destination. She's supposed to be Atua's bride, very much a child bride kind of situation, right? Very morally wrong. But Asajj ends up delivering Boba inside of the cargo container, and Boba's tied up and gagged. Asajj stuffed him in there and delivered Boba to Atua, and she ferreted off the girl Pluma to with her brother. Her brother was part of the attacking force trying to get that cargo because she's too young, and right, she's a child bride going against her will. Her brother is trying to free her, so Asajj assists her brother in freeing her Pluma from this child bride situation, and he ends up paying Asajj for delivering her his sister to him and rescuing her from Atua. So Asajj gets paid both ways. She takes her cut of the fee from Atua's bounty, and she takes the fee from the brother. So she delivers the rest of the bounty to the other bounty hunters, the reward, and says Boba's fee is in there as well. Make sure he gets his payment. And they try to recruit Asajj, but she's like, nope, I figured out what I'm going to do. She likes this bounty hunting business, and she goes off. That episode kind of ends with Asajj going her own way. Then we pick up in part 3, and we kind of have a split. And that's why I mentioned, like, it's a 4-part story arc, but really 2 stories. The first 2 revolve mostly around Asajj, with some of course, Mother Talzin. The second 2 take place primarily with Savage and Maul, but it ties together because we've got Dooku and we've got Mother Talzin over the story arc. And in this one, Savage is causing havoc. Dooku has sensed that something's happened, and he wants Grievous to go assist in dealing with Savage. And Savage is in contact with Talzin, and she's trying to arrange him to get to his brother. Uh, Anakin and Ahsoka are closing in on Savage because he's been causing havoc wherever he goes. And Maul is actually the disruption that both Dooku and then Anakin sense in the Force. Maul coming back to life, so to speak, coming back to power. And there's a scene in there where Anakin's like, whoa, something's going on. Savage is following an amulet that's kind of leading him to his brother that Talzin has given him. And so Savage ends up on this like trash planet, and there are fire breathers, which are great big machines that are devouring trash and incinerating it. And then there are also scavengers and junkers. And Savage is making his way through, and this like snake-like creature is talking to him and leading him along and kind of helping him avoid some of the pitfalls. Leads him to a place because there's some acid rain coming down, and then the snake figure throws him into a pit, kind of tricks Savage into falling into this pit where he does find Maul at the bottom. At the very bottom, Savage ends up finding Maul, and Maul is more like half Maul, half spider creature. Even the bulbous back end, right? He's got these 4 legs on the ground. He's got this bulbous back end, and he's insane. Right? Maul he's mentally unstable. He's talking gibberish. He's kind of lost it. And at the very end of the episode, it cuts back to Yoda and some other Jedi there. And Yoda says that he has sensed this disturbance in the Force. And he figures out that Maul is the one. And so he tells Obi-Wan that Maul is this disturbance. And that then leads into episode 22, Revenge. And Savage has taken Maul back to Talzin on Dathomir. Maul is still very unstable. Like he's more like lost than himself. Talzin uses her magic to kind of lead Maul out. She restores him, gives him new spider-like appendages, and Maul and Savage then go to a planet to kind of entice Kenobi to them, and they start slaughtering innocent people. Obi-Wan goes there specifically to stop this slaughter from happening. Meanwhile, Asajj, again, this is why the 4-part fits together. Asajj has also picked up as she's trying to get to Savage to put an end to him. They end up on this ship together. Kenobi is getting beat down by Maul. Asajj then joins with Kenobi. They fight Savage and Maul together. Savage and Maul are kicking their butts. Kenobi says that he understands that they're outmatched, and he and Savage end up going in and jettisoning off using the cockpit of this cargo transport. It jettisons off, leaving the cargo container kind of floating free in space. And Savage and Maul are on there, and Maul tells Savage they need to be patient in taking their revenge. So again, a 4-part story. It ends season 4, and we've got Maul returned at the end in the form that he's back to his full state. So he's part machine, part creature, and his mental capacity is restored. So that's where the season ends. It's a good story arc, and we'll pick up next week with season 5. We're getting closer and closer, so it's an exciting time.
As we close out the review of season 4, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on Monday as we begin season 5. There'll be an end screen right here for that.